mas o LG garante mais um abate. Teve a passagem!
He's got to be careful. You've got Ye close by.
Spike down A.
Ye gets the third on the round. EG gets a 10.
2 unreal rounds to close it out for EG on that first map. And Potter, you talked about bringing surprises. We just saw the Waylay from IC. It was a crazy back and forth, but now we're going into a map of Lotus that we haven't seen from you in quite some time. So what can we expect from it? More surprises?
Definitely more surprises. I think every team probably on Lotus has been going back and forth for the past 6 months since the Viper changes with the Teo coming out. We've also been having a bit of an identity crisis, but we're feeling very confident on Lotus. Feel like we got the first match jitters out of the way, hopefully on map 1, and hopefully going into map 2 we can have a little bit of a more good Valorant.
Excited to see you. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Potter wants good, honest Valorant, but I think 2G might have some other plans. And that's a sentence I didn't think that I'd be saying going into map 2, folks, because it was a 13-11 win for Evil Geniuses, but 2G truly showing some grit out of that one. Wyatt?
I'm flattened. I am a 2-dimensional human.
No. Why? Why are you flattened?
Last couple rounds. I mean,
no, that was brutal.
But they gave you 11 great rounds.
Sadness. But they almost gave me 13. They almost gave me a great map. They almost gave me a great day.
And then Prime Yaster shows up alongside Icy, hitting some unreal stuff as well. I mean,
let's talk about that.
That set the pace, didn't it, for the first half, I think, of this map, right? Like, these guys, we talked about, even Potter mentioned in the interview, right? Having this identity crisis of the team, trying to figure out what they want to run entirely. And whatever this was, it was working to such a high degree.
I mean, it really was just the old reliable comp with Waylay instead of Jet, as Jogamo said, a lot of teams are doing, and we got to see it. Icy's Waylay was looking nice. He had a really solid performance, especially that first leg of the game. He was the standout.
And I think what's helping him here, too, as well, is he's taking a lot of these fights and really disrupting these timings, and he's been going really aggressive in those early engagements, so it's actually been pretty cool to see Icy take advantage of that. But then on the flip side of that, you got El Diablo. Yay, back again, and he picked up an ace. He was looking phenomenal. I mean, this guy, Bren, it looked like we were back in Istanbul.
He's farming a couple of eco frags, you know what I mean? Like, okay, but that only...
He killed some players in tripwires, too.
Yeah, he did. He definitely did that because... we won't talk about it. But he's looking good, to be honest. And if they want to just solidify that and put Ye only on Sentinel as a role and make that his thing to define once more, I'm all okay with it, to be honest. And for 2G,
listen,
you're flat, but genuinely, that is so much better than what we saw of them in Kickoff. So much better.
Absolutely. Round one, they win the pistol in a 1-versus-1, and immediately I'm seeing the fire in Zap's eyes. What I witnessed across their entire Ascension run. This guy was the driving force of the team emotionally. He was keeping them in it during the game, between the maps, between the days. He was the life of this squad, and it was awesome to see them back in that state.
This is what I want to see, though, when I see Brazilian players on the stage. I want to see that passion. I want to see screaming across, like you said, that old 2009 LAN style. Just they're throwing
put that pressure on them,
you know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about. But previous in Kickoff, they looked like they didn't even want to really be there. They were scared to make the right play to win. They were playing not to lose. This is completely different. Despite the fact that they lost in the fashion that they did, you got to not let that get you down. This is a completely different 2G that we're looking at. They're not a free win. They're not a free win by any stretch of the imagination here. So signs of life. I'm happy to see it. I'm very happy to see it.
I was over the moon, genuinely over the moon. Zap was giving us everything that we wanted to see. But let's actually get some words from Coach Faith, the coach of 2G, to hear what he has to say as we get ready for map 2.
I'm here with Coach Faith ahead of map 2, and that first map slipped through your fingers a little bit. You're hoping to recover for the second and third, but I want to ask about one of the guys that was the big win condition for a few of these rounds. It was Askia. 2 years ago, we saw him in Ascension playing Duelist. Last year, he was playing a lot of the Initiator instead, and then he was on the Academy team. So what can we expect from him? Because we just saw Yoru in the double Duelist.
Yeah, so he's a real complete player. So he can fit everything that we need, and that's what we kind of needed for the moment. And so he's a really complete player. Yep.
I mean, it was really close. Best of luck for the second map.
Yeah, thank you.
I tell you what, it's great to see the way that Dryad just as always finds ways, you know, whether it's Dryad, I don't know how you do it. Is it levitation? What's your trick?
Rack in the back.
That's what it is. That's what it is. He was talking about Askia there, what he brings to the table, and what that was, you heard it there from Coach Faith. Flexibility was what they wanted in this, and he, you know, look, it wasn't, he had his moments. There were some moments that I'm sure he would like to take back, but overall, Wyatt, I will say that he did the thing that they needed him to do, especially on that Yoru.
Absolutely, and when you have a sub, another player coming into this team, at some point here, I'm going to be done talking about Spike, but he was playing a flex role, a lot of duelists, a lot of initiators, so you need someone that's going to be able to pick those pieces up. Gobera, the other sub for this team, has continued to be phenomenal. He was the standout during kickoff, had a great map there, and I was really happy to see Silence picking things up.
Silence was great, yeah.
Cooking everyone. It was
like, what, 3 and 4 in the kill contract?
Or 3 for 1.
Oh, yeah.
3 out of 4. Yeah,
3 out of 4.
Yeah. But he was cooking people with the ult. He was looking really good. He had some of those nice streaks going where you get that first kill shield up, and then you're just stringing them together, getting the double taps.
I think it's a good sign for them, like you're saying. They're inserting a player into the system very much last minute and playing a comp that, on paper, it looks like it's easy to play, right? You're just playing Euro ISO, you're trying to pinpoint the players so that the ISO can vacuum them up and put them into the gulag. But genuinely, it's a hard comp to play on the attack side. You need to be thinking about your motions and the way that you play it. And that was one of the things that was really missing when they last played Haven for me. So they've already made corrections in terms of how they're playing in their attack side macro on that map. I think that speaks volumes, actually, for the kind of corrections that they've had, honestly. They've spent this month doing good prac and good work.
And I may need to get that tank of coke back out and take a few big hits. But honestly, I think despite losing, 2G are going to walk away from that game happy. I think they should walk away from that feeling like, oh, we can compete. Yeah. We're right there with them.
Look, I mean,
in fact, we should have won.
Yeah.
They should have. Sorry. They should have won.
They should have won.
Damn game, man.
Yeah.
They should be up 1-0.
It was the garage play, man. It was the tripwire that was the greatest tripwire of all time. Brutal. It truly was. Doesn't get better than that.
But despite that, I want them to feel good, and they should. Because now they know that kickoff, that's in the distant past. We can compete with these guys. We're at their level.
Without a doubt. And of course, for 2G, a win here would be massive. Let's not forget that every single win that you get in this stage gives you a championship point, which gets you one step closer to champions at the end of the year. So these games always going to be important here, especially for 2G, who, well, as we had talked about extensively, right, in kickoff was, you know, just not in that rhythm at all. And yes, you can make the argument they didn't have Spike. They were bringing in, you know, a lot of new faces onto the team to try and like account for that. But overall, what we're getting here today, much different team, exactly what we want to see. Gives me hope for this squad in the future, honestly.
What Potter said into this Arrival interview as well, just to pivot it to EG a little bit as well, or not the Arrival interview, but a winning interview, where, you know, she was looking ahead to talking about Lotus as the next map coming up, and talking about the meta being in flux for the last 6 months as well. I wonder what direction EG are going to take this one in, because you can run, a lot of teams running the solo duelist play where you have Breach Teo, for example, Reclearance, G2 are the best example of their, I think, playing that particular composition on Lotus. They do it so damn well. But teams have had success with the double duelist as well. Like, if you want to run some Euro ISO, you can keep doing that as well. But, I mean, obviously, I don't really know how the pieces are going to be working with that one. Maybe that puts more demand on Ye if they want to be putting him on more flexible positions himself. But it's very winnable for 2G. The overall point I want to get at here, which we've all just been hitting over and over again, is that, you know, they should be coming off the back of that map thinking, man, we should have won that, right? That's got to speak volumes. You can't get yourself down thinking about it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, folks, we do want to let everyone know that on stage, I'm sure you kind of put 2 and 2 together here. If you haven't yet, you should learn some math. But essentially, we have a little bit of a delay on stage, so we're going to be taking care of that and getting things sorted and ready to go. But in the meantime, though, we'll give us a little bit of a pause for the cause. And when we return, we're going to jump right back into this series here. Mat 2 underway. It's going to be Lotus with EG up 1-0. And as always, we'll see you on the other side right here at VCT Americas.
tú quieres jugar. Tócame, tú tienes la llave para descubrirme y a ver qué te sale. Ya estoy super easy, pa' ti no estoy busy, bebé como tú y sí.
All right, everyone, and welcome back to VCT Americas. In case you're just joining us here, we want to let you all know that we're still sorting out some stuff on the stage, so we'll be sure to get going as soon as that is ready to go. Of course, I'm GB alongside Brendan Wyatt. So we're looking to break everything down, and from that first map, what we saw was a completely different 2G than what we were getting in Kickoff. And I think that one thing that we have to stress is that this is a big game for 2G, right? An absolute critical one.
We were kind of mentioning it, but it's a must-win, arguably.
Yeah. It's like, go out there, have fun, but you got to
strength of schedule that's coming up. I mean, listen, I pulled it up here. They've got Loud, Crew, 100 Thieves, Sen as their next upcoming games in this stage. So out of all of them, which ones are the most winnable for you? It's probably going to be this one coming up with EG, right? When EG is still struggling to find out what they want to play, what roles do they want to solidify and cement for themselves. This is probably going to be one of the better ones to try and get that early win that is necessary to get the ball rolling. 2G can't let this one slip. They really just cannot let it slip.
Yeah, especially not when they have some wind in their sails and belief that they can actually win this after pushing EG to the limit and losing a map that they should have won. I will never not say they should have won that. They simply should have won that map, and they didn't, sadly. But they can definitely take Lotus. They can definitely take this series. And you're right, it just gets a lot tougher from here. You know, maybe the next match against Loud. Sometimes you have those weird inter-regional matchups where it's like these teams know each other way too well, and then it leads to some strange outcomes at times. But yeah, you are obviously looking at this one as the must win. And I promise this is the last time we're going to say something about Spike, you guys, because we have just really beat that narrative into the ground. But it is true that he's coming back in the next stage, so they want to be able to get some wins on the board.
For him.
Get in for the skipper. Get within the skipper. Get within striking distance. So when he's back and you have another heavy hitter, then maybe you can make a run.
I tell you, man, it's going to be a tall task without a doubt. Can 2G force that map 3? Let's send it back over to your casters for this one. It's Mimi and Ender.
I don't know if I've ever seen a room with more 2G copium than the analyst desk right now.
Wyatt is putting in work over there.
But you got to believe it at least a little after that first map. I mean, by all accounts, should have won that one. EG steals it away, and now we go into the map choice for 2G. We've seen them here before, but EG didn't show this map at Kickoff, and there's a lot of options here. They already showed something creative with the Waylay map 1, and we're hopping into our agent select. 2G up first, and it looks like they're just ripping off T1.
All right, so yeah, they watched Masters Bangkok. That's good news.
Yes.
Right, 2G.
And this comp, even better after the ISO changes, I think. Remember, it's giving that suppression when you use his undercut, which is so strong for a lobby control. And
that's a clove for Ye. Okay, and you know what? Look, Ye was frying over on the Cypher on map 1. And we saw this played the other day, but that was also next to an Omen. The nerfs to Clove's cooldown on smokes going from 30 seconds to 40 seconds is massive. And having an Omen next to it can make up for that fact. Viper, not so much.
Yeah, they have the shortest smoke duration of any agent in the game, and now the longest recharge. Besides, of course, Brimstone, who doesn't recharge.
but
It's an
they can
interesting
heal
one.
themselves up,
Yes,
you know?
yes, and Ye has the freedom to just fight B every round, no matter what side he's on, and just use the smokes from death.
Also, you know what? I'm always wondering, like, why is Potter putting this into the composition? Is it just to let Ye shoot? Is it also with the clove changes, right? Now the decay,
metal, yeah.
it explodes after hitting the ground, so you can do some like cool lineup things with that potentially. We'll have to wait and find out.
For now, it starts pretty normal as 2G walk their way up B.
All missiles away.
Derek forced to use his missiles to stall them out, but 2G was never committed this way.
Yeah, 2G gonna take their time. They also left a camera and a cage over on the A side of the map, so probably gonna take this fight and move back into it. Shots aren't quite there for them right now. Just kills traded out as the tether doesn't dissuade 2G from fighting. They still wanted that one.
Finally, they will tuck tail though. Head back in the other direction. But it's a 4v4, and there's really no util left for them except their smokes.
Well, annoyingly, because Cypher died, they can't actually go back into rubble and bank on that utility, so they regroup 4 players in front B, clear out this back box, and...
Are they just going back C?
Yeah, open the door to make sure no one pushed up into the...
Unfortunately, there's still 2 players here, and EG is ready for this one. Supa holding things down. 2 kills, a smoke in their face, and 2G have been shooed away.
Now those 2 players also on opposite sides of the door. Zap trying to find something front B, but LZ has the spike. Can't really get out of here.
Door open. Can LZ survive? Nah, they're swinging him somehow. He Houdini's his way out of that one, and they'll at least get the plant down on B.
Yeah, I mean, it's the little things in a round like this.
Oh, does he even get that? The missiles nearly kill him. He runs for the hills, but a nade now going to be coming at his feet, and that's the death of LZ. Poor guy couldn't do anything. Supa's sticking, and this round is over.
Zap can't even find a kill on the way out either, so 4 ghosts carried over from EG. Not too bad. Felt like that early fight just... 2G were so committed to it, but because 3 players were tethered and didn't immediately go for the swing, Gobert was just kind of hung out to dry there. The sole player out in the open.
How about running?
True.
This guy doesn't lie.
2G headed back the same direction. 5 strong fighting towards C. Just hoping, beyond hope, to get a spike plant down here.
When 2G loved the fast XX back on Haven, it's not working though. This boosted spot from EG is just doing numbers on 2G. Not a single player to drop on the initial wave.
And you talk about some of the disadvantages of running the Viper instead of the Omen. Biggest advantage on your defense. Viper's stall util is crazy to lock down C. We've seen a lot of teams switch to solo controller, but Viper has always been one of the strongest agents on this map since its release.
Yeah, the orb for C control is fantastic. You also have the wall that hits front B and also the area outside rubble to make sure you can throw that up if the door on A is ever being tapped.
Yeah, she has kind of a global impact that not many other agents do on this map.
Yeah, now the one thing is, usually you get more value out of that Viper wall, like defensively, when you have like an Omen on your team who can TP up on rubble, fight, then if they're getting cleared out, throw up that wall, TP behind it, get on out. Because they're running the Clove and Raze isn't so flexible on that TP mobility, can't quite get that value here.
Icy looking to contest towards A. Knows there's a couple players here, but can't commit to a duel.
Deploying drone.
EG might have some trouble re-clearing into space as well, right? No flashes on this composition for them, so it's much more about taking these off angles, going for the dry swings themselves, but if the shots aren't hitting, it's going to mean a lot of space gathered for 2G.
Only a single member anchoring on A for EG.
Yeah, that's because there's a double flank coming in long on C. So EG are going to pull back off of the site, wait for that flank to come in. There is a camera and a tripwire spotting that one out. It'll be all up on Gobert to deal with those 2 players.
Gobert was very good map 1 though.
Spike planted.
Especially in positions like this.
2G are playing super actively on the A site.
Gobert's been spotted by the drone. Molly at his feet. Zap's gonna try and help him, but there's no saving Gobera. Overwhelmed by EG.
Check out this spot from Icy too. Can catch Zap trying to run into backside, but the shots aren't quite there.
And now it gets a little funky. 2G have flipped the map. They're full playing towards spawn, but some of these players still stuck on the site. And EG about to head their way into it. Tap on the spike. Derek holding strong for 3, and EG just mops it up.
I'm sorry, where did 2G go?
They disappeared. That's the magic trick.
They had 4 players there, and then they didn't. Poof, gone. Derek doing incredible work there on the retake. I think he found the first kill on Gobera, called in all the utility to flush that poor guy out of rubble. And then almost because 2G had committed everyone into playing backside, like they're having to swing into this unfavorable line. Usually it's the attackers that get to play over in tree like that and dominate on those angles.
The difference between him and Zap's reactions is very funny to me.
Yeah, try to sound a little more enthusiastic, Derek, come on. He's keeping it calm.
So EG win the bonus on their defense side.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about the teddy bears? Okay.
What's there to say?
What were they doing?
They were there.
Poor guy in the middle. All that bad buy. Really just being carried through by LZ on a Guardian. Like going for the active lurk doesn't pay out.
Icy.
Yowza.
This guy's looking clean today. 6-0 to start. 2G want to hit this site. There's a molly at their feet. They're stunned up. And yet again, 2G disappears from the round.
These C hits are looking brutal right now from 2G. Just trying to force through the smokes. Nice shot from Zap. This is looking much more like the control of the first half of Haven we saw out of EG.
Nightmare's over. Bring them down.
Had the paint shells going into back rubble that forced LZ out into the angle. Really beautifully played by Icy, I'm not gonna lie.
I took care of.
2G have a second shot at a buy round now. And again, they're really favoring the sit-in towards C. The biggest issue, yet again, is going to be Superman and his orb. Suppress is good, but they're not going to be able to scale up in time to convert off that gap.
It seems to me like 2G want to play these slower rounds almost, although now that they have the ISO ultimate, could try to speed up off of that one.
Grab the Teo. Silence has a 1v1. Outside Supa gets a kill as well, but Silence is the important one. Finds his, but they're right on top of him.
Where's your team? Wait, what happened? He won his 1v1, and then he comes back to the wake of a battlefield.
That was the EG players who had walked up B at the beginning of the round, hearing that ult, immediately pinching into that space and cooking the rest of 2G's players.
That's what I'm saying, though. 2G are trying to, run the fast round playbook like they did on Haven that, to be fair, really exposed EG on their retakes, but EG are playing much more fluidly this time, actually holding on to their sights, going for these walk-ups.
And they have a lot better active stall util. Every round, 2G is getting locked out by the Molly and the Viper Orb on C.
My ultimate is ready. 30 seconds left.
It's pretty annoying, especially because apart from the round previous to this, 2G haven't done anything really quickly over into the A space. They've been throwing the same Cypher Cam, up against the wall in the back corner there. They've been throwing the same cage over on Rubble too. But they haven't been using those. And usually when you play utility, defaults like that, you're trying to show some presence on the C space early, threaten that you've maybe left someone there to be a late lurk, and then move back into the A space and slowly try to push forward over the course of 40 seconds to a minute. But because of the pace that 2G is playing at, it's not allowing for any of that concern over alert coming in, over any concern of players creeping up against EG. It's very simple rounds for EG to play almost.
And you can play at a faster pace with this comp, but I think where it really thrives is taking space in a lobby. The ISO shield scaling up behind that with a dive from the Raze is one of the reasons why T1 was so good with this comp. Something I don't think we've really seen them do most this half.
Well, we'll see what the quick A look is like from 2G. Lotus just 2 rifles. Ooh. Okay, not as much damage as I was expecting. A little high there from Nature. But still, EG, because they, see players now, they can throw up the wall, buys a ton of time on the stall. You've got players creeping out of that C space too. And what it means for EG is, again, brilliant map control round to round. Now using the drone outside of the mound space, sees that there's no lurk on this side, might even actually ping Gobera, so that's a pretty high likelihood that 2G have all 5 players in the A space.
And look at the damage. Zap knocked down to 11 health just from the Odin spam. EG is winning this battle via attrition.
And perfectly reading, too, that 2G want to split back into Baby Door. EG have 3 players here, lying in wait. Supa with a brilliant timing on the maul. He catches these players, and an ultimate, too, trying to force them out into the open. 2G still have found some position on the site, but it's uncomfortable for the time being.
The spike finally gets ferried into B. The next wave of this EG retake is soon to come.
But this is where it's trickier for EG. No flashes to get back onto the angle, just a Prowler for nature.
Silence alone.
I know exactly where.
As the Vandal in hand, one of the few hero weapons of this round. Knows Nature's just on the other side, but caught out by the utility and sprayed through on the Odin. EG now getting their foothold, but Askia, he's back into it. All popped, him alone against Nature. Up and over the top he goes. The rocket, it's good! 2G's newest addition finds 4 and finally grants them a round.
2G were desperate for a round win there, and they can finally get it. Askia got his first 4 kills of the game there, and couldn't have come at a better time for 2G. Playing in this position down in the pit of B. And that's a deceptively hard angle to play with the showstopper too. He had to boost himself up onto the box there. Have much to shoot it off against to get that final kill.
2G again attempt to take space in A.
Derek was playing back in spawn, anticipating an Omen ult at the start of that round. But has now crept into the mound space. Again, same round from EG, same round from 2G. But this time, 2G want to push into that A side.
Nature has the ultimate, he'll pop it, but he's getting overwhelmed very quickly. Silence runs him down. 2G will attain a post plant, and Askia again towards heaven, now brings it up to a 5v3.
And now EG have 3 players all isolated on their ones. Derek on a very delayed flank. Tripwire to find him. And Ye dealing with a trip, trying to regroup with Supa. EG need time to play with here, time to work back into this space. It's time they don't really have Mimi.
Derek is going to be so late. I think this might just be a save at this point.
2G playing this smartly as well. You can see all going up the rope to exit towards EG's own spawn.
How do you feel about the save call? Because 2G is pretty close to their money breaking. EG would have been able to buy even if they lost these guns.
It's true. It wouldn't have been the worst thing. I do think there's a point to be made around ultimates as well, right? EG don't really have the ult orbs to go for, and I guess EG are trying to take some of the kills. EG might have also thought 2G would just escape towards their own spawn.
Sure, was hoping for that.
Yeah. And yet that is 2 rounds in a row now for 2G. What is going on?
Some shuffling.
I want to be that elephant.
Don't think we can grant that one. It's going to be another fight towards A. But this time, EG's committing to the brawl themselves. Sees nade, Teo missiles. 2G held at bay for now. But they didn't use their burst of utility just at the beginning of the round. Instead, they held it. And now we'll go and fight for this re-clear.
Yeah, as soon as the clove smoke goes down, they can get back into the space. EG have abandoned it entirely. Now an Omen ult into backside A. 2G have found much more success towards this side of the map than the fast hits on C. Realized EG are playing pretty weak on this area.
Cover going out.
LZ making a play.
2 rounds in a row, this is risky.
Askia tries to bait him in, and LZ disengages.
Smart to fall out of that space, I think. 2G may be looking for a bit too much there.
Couple ults. Silence. Has the kidnap zap, has the Hunter's Fury. The first one popped, that'll grab Icy. In comes EG, straight to the blender of LZ. He's found his way up above. 2G, they decimate Evil Geniuses as they fight into the site. It's a near flawless round for 2 game.
That was a sick little bait and switch between LZ and Askia. Askia's the little rat playing underneath his own smoke on rope. Askia over into drop. But because LZ takes these first shots and then TP's up in the window that everyone else is trying to react, those players are all turning around trying to find where this Omen is. No one's anticipating the Rays to be there too.
Losing 3 rounds in a row, EG will call their first time out of this second map.
Here's the thing though, Mimi. Again, similar to EG's defensive side of Haven, they're struggling in the retakes, right? When they're holding the C site in those early rounds, it's beautiful. They can play it behind their utility, it's no problem. But here again, 2G are abusing all of these very aggressive angles. Angles that normally you'd have, you know, some breach utility, stuns, flashes to clear away. Right now, EG are failing on that front to deal with them.
Last 3 rounds have all ended either A or B. And 2G's been opening with a lobby control every time. That's been the secret sauce thus far.
Seemed like last round, you remember how EG were playing the A space. They put down the early clove smoke, had Icy playing there for a second, but fell off pretty quickly. But it's harder with the clove smoke duration to keep recycling that smoke over towards rubble. You can't really maintain that control for EG, so they almost need to be more willing to fall back, unless 2G just opt into that straight-up brawl. Looks to me like the setup in this round from 2G, splitting up, 3 players towards the C side, actually bringing 4 over, anticipating a switch up from Evil Geniuses, and playing this space B to C.
2Game is yet to win a round where they try and go C. This is their chance, but it's a bait and switch.
We've never seen EG up like this.
Superman. Do they check on him? Do they consider the option?
Nope.
No one's looking thus far. That's one, but the shield, it saves the day.
Hold on, Icy stepping into front B. He found that kill. EG could be right back in it. But as it stands, Gobera takes the warning shot, falls back into sand.
Yeah, he's gonna do it instead. There's one from him. And Icy front B takes down another key player from 2G.
Spike play. Last player standing.
It all comes down to Gobera. EG have plenty of time to work with. Pulling back to regroup together as 3. Gobera needs to seize this window. Hasn't been spotted yet. Takes his timing to clip ahead. Now in a 1-on-2, finds another, but nature will take him down. EGC, yet another C plant through.
And the drought continues on C. 2G have not found a solution to this side of the map.
At least they planted the spike this time.
Fair. Bait and switch setup. Got a couple for EG, but I think the real crux of that round was their fight back into B main, opening that door and pressuring 2G from behind as Ye just held in spawn and let them run into him.
That's something EG have looked for a couple of times after they've heard the early attack into sand. Walk into front B, open that door, go for that delayed pinch play.
So back to the well for 2G. They're gonna take another round opening a lobby.
EG's fight is quiet here so far. Ooh, but a dart not broken. Force those players back.
They have conceded space because of it.
Suppression added to the ISO kit, a little bit annoying to deal with as well. I see no chance to stall, but he pings out.
Spike.
Oh dear.
No one's there to recover it. LZ has to save the day, and he'll sneak away.
Lurks on lurks. Right now, EG have pushed out of C, and Gobera is front B. No one's ready for that. With the A out of the picture, the round becomes so much simpler for 2G, and Gobera is still going to keep moving.
EG going for a double flank play. But this lurk, an ever-present threat from Gobera.
He's so patient right now, too.
EG finally arrive. And take space into Dream. Everyone is backside from 2G. Silence. Another shield. Another chance to close out this round. First tap on the spike. EG trying to win out in the brawl, but 2G better at it thus far. The Viper's Pit is up. Silpa's out of bullets. And 2G holds strong again on the A side.
Brilliant round out of Gobera, finding that lurk into the B space. Without Ye's smoke simplifying the round, then coming in so delayed, like he froze after he got that kill, nesting himself up in B window. And it just put so much pressure on these EG players. They tried to make it a little chaotic with all the smokes, the Viper's Pit going down. the end of it all, that lurk was just too big.
There. Sees nade early on A. Ooh, that might actually catch on Mr. Player Zap. Oh, he doesn't care.
We're doing with the classic 2 Zap?
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, the Silva attack outlaw technology.
They don't know about it.
Does a little bit better than most folks.
And in about 15 seconds, round is all but one for 2G.
All right, Mimi.
Okay.
Put yourself in the mind of Zap right now. You're calling round 12, the last round of the half to tie things up. Do you hit C site, where you've lost every round, or Mimi, hear me out, do you hit the A site, where you've won every round?
This might be revolutionary, but I think I would go and open A rubble, and maybe then hit the A site after.
Okay, let's see what happens.
But I'm not a mastermind like him, so we'll see.
I would say if Zap called to hit C and it works this time because EG overload bodies on the A side of the map, give this man a medal.
He's trying it.
They've got an attack op and outlaw to take these first fights. Guns to fall back into after, I'm sure.
Only 2 sets of full armor on EG. And some guns to back it up. Oh, Derek finding that opener onto Gobera. He's been so successful on those lurks. Not this round, though.
This is an annoying round because 2G, I think, wanted to accelerate into C using this drone to fake it to A, but now they're calling back into this space. And yet somehow Zap has called around this. Again, this A site is weak. EG anticipating Zap's moves, but maybe just 10 seconds behind him.
Nature jiggling from the baby door. Zap holding this angle. Nature knows now. Oh, the rocket. That's headed into the site. And that'll allow the spike to come down uncontested for 2G.
Zap getting so active up into stairs. Trying to walk on the back of that, but Ye takes him down. It's now 3-on-5.
Ult for silence. He nabbed Ye. Been very good in these ultimates thus far, and it's no different here.
But EG now trying to flood into the site. Down in hell again. Oski has been so effective. Nature on 2 puts LZ into a 1-on-3. And with the ultimates, the utility winding down, pushing against him. Evil geniuses will take a 7th before the half.
Truly a half of 2 sites. EG every time successful in hard anchoring C with the Viper, but again, struggling on their retakes. Finally in the last round though, they figure it out. They get the retake down pat on A and put themselves in a good position to close this game out.
Yeah, they just punished the individual walk-ups from 2G. The lurk on B from Gobert was so quick. Zap 2 falls. EG can play out the numbers nicely.
2G competitive again, but they still have to come back if they want to send us to map number 3.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Had a lightning start to the second half on Haven. They almost rallied that game back against EG, but now they're down a map in the series, and they're tasked with the very same thing here on Lotus.
Yeah, the last few rounds have gone very nicely for them, winning 5 of the last 7. You can see, like, basically every time that Zap is popping off and around, the rest of 2G rally behind him. Good pistol here, could be the start of things for 2G. But looks like Evil Geniuses geared up for a sand fight. Only LZ to spot this out from 2G.
Clove smoke down to get out towards C.
Yeah, just break the one-way. Threaten popping out of this.
Double controller comes and let you commit smokes for that.
Thing is, EG have a ton of damaging utility, not so much raw initiator abilities. So they can catch you, they can combo utility, and when it works, it works. That's one down on the C side, and only Zap here to hold.
He's got to get out of here.
Yeah, get on through. And with Nature flying in too, I mean, this round's falling apart from 2G.
Yeah. Towards spawn, the fight continues, but it's less successful. Nature's dead. That's the spike having to run all the way back towards Bend. Ye will get it down. But 2G ready. They're going to be fast in on this retake.
There is a huge lurk from Supa, but it's going to be very delayed.
So the rest of EG has to hold well. Icy revealed up top. He'll back away as Ye for the first. Can he do any more? No, it's great from Zap, the IGL again. But enough time has been bought and Supa arrives. And this becomes a hell of a lot harder. Teo missiles at Zap's feet. Only 20 health to deal with. Somehow gets the first, but no more to come of it. EG take the pistol.
I mean, it's a round loss, but Zap's got to be feeling beautifully about that one. 4 kills, some crisp shots. Out of 2G's leader. Nature just got the spam shot there. Because they threw the C's nade into back bend, right? So even with the classics, just firing bullets off through that smoke, you know the guy's got to try and run and get out of there.
My bad. I was,
They're in the house.
Another very conservative eco round from EG.
Not so much from 2G. Couple of sheriffs, the marshal for Zap. That's something I remember even during kickoff he liked to do. Playing an off angle backstairs. This guy likes those snipers. There's a little gap for him to play with on that smoke too.
I'm not sure if anyone's going to be walking into it. Derek has the stun in hand.
Right here.
And EG still, they are so patient when they play these anti-ecos. Finally, they're going to hit that go button. Send it towards the A site. At least one player is flooded out, LZ. Inside of a smoke, and everyone has rotated over for 2G. Okay, now it gets a little dangerous. That's one pick found, but here comes the pivot.
Mimi, we're on 30 seconds. Yeah, EG have to go back into Link, into B site. Ye has laid the foundation for an exec. But EG did lose one of their 3 rifles. It's an FPX buy for them. This is not the simplest round to play out.
Not a lick of armor on 2G, though. So even the ghost in the hands of Derek is going to be potent. Nature facing 2 on the other side. The smoke, he gets nothing! And neither does Derek. Yay! Has to do so much here. Down to 1 HP. Silence with another shield ready to go. And LZ beginning this defuse. Someone has to stop it. Someone has to swing. Yay! He doesn't have the spam. And 2G steal an eco round.
With how the last map ended, 2G needed to get a diabolical round like that. Take that one straight away. Just put the smoke on the ground. And really it all came back to that first kill they secured over on the A site. Taking one of the guns out of EG's hands. And then what, with a classic and a guardian from main? Spiking, or smoking the spike and trying to stick that one is just gonna work more times than not.
That's got Zap back high on energy.
Still 2 guardians from EG because of the half buy last round.
Gobera, nice shot from him. He'll escape, got his reward. Now an advantaged retake for 2G.
Even if this round doesn't look too hot from EG, Nature's going to be pretty close to the Nightfall, assuming he gets the spike down here. Also, don't forget about front B. While all the fakes are going down on the spike plant, Superman has taken some space. He could get a pinch going. But with only a classic, he can't imagine he gets more than one kill.
Nature, not enough HP to win that duel. And the classic, not quite the weapon for the job either. This is real clean from 2G. 1 round away from tying this game up.
EG have already laid the groundwork of these early rounds, you know, conditioning against 2G, right? They've shown so many of these lurk looks from Supa, whether it was, you know, stepping all the way through A on the pistol round, this last round on the eco, going into B late. These are all things 2G is going to be thinking about. Maybe trying to flush out in the mid rounds, front B especially. But 2G also has some beautiful ultimates to play a retake with too on the ISO and the Soba.
EG, 1-3-1, walking their way up B.
With the paranoia there too is a bit shocking. EG, yeah, they can just heat up into this B site. 2G can't hold their ground. A bit overloaded there as the fight continues into Baby Door.
They're gonna keep it going. Zap to take down Superman. That was the lurker over towards A. So an A pivot is a little difficult now because there's overwhelming forces from 2G. The ult!
Whoa!
Excellence from Zap. Icy. Now a bit stuck into this corner as Ye comes back to life and takes down Askia.
And this is where the power of the Clove kicks in. Ye sped up, pushing into this A side. Zap on the off angle. Gets 4 on the round, but it's still a 2-on-2.
Derek has the missiles back.
There.
LZ has 1 smoke. They'll use it immediately. LZ onto the spike. A nade gets him off and kills him too. Tides agreed for the half. And he's not rewarded. Now missiles. And Icy ready to run into this smoke. It fades. And so too should the chances of Gobera. Icy for 4 and EG back in control.
That was such a hard round for EG to win. The fact that Icy and Ye were able to fight themselves out from that tight little choke point in Baby and win that round is nothing short of a miracle. You also have to consider that 2 versus 2, right? When they have the utility to put down onto the spike. You also have Ye, after death, putting down a smoke. So 2G, those players are constantly checking behind their backs, trying to figure out if they're getting wrapped on, whatnot. Had no idea both players were actually set up in tree.
Nice, Icy!
You have to feel bad for Zap. Got 4 kills that round with the Clove res, though it was still a 2v2 that his team couldn't win.
So pistol round, he gets a 4K, loses the round. That round, he gets a 4K, team loses the round. Send some help.
He's gonna need it. They'll take a timeout. Get Coach Faith in for a word. What? No!
We can't be having that. Someone gonna deal with him?
Sancho's not even here. We don't need that kind of violence.
Don't check his stream. He's on top of the world right now. Just brutal scenes out here in Americas.
Pivot round here for 2G. Money's on the edge. They have an ice ult to work with.
Sending the Cypher over towards this A side, so 2G ready to fight into the mound space. For a second, I thought they were going to have the undercut from Silence chucked on out, but instead, he wants to play front B. Can maybe support from there, open door, get the cross of the box if he wants.
Or just send out his ult.
Oh,
to support the fight with the smoke. Askia dies. Elsie could be in trouble too. Has a second TP in the ult, though. Silence unsuccessful. And it's all crumbling for 2G now.
Yeah, once again, it feels like Zap's here in a 1v5. His entire team falling before him and getting pinged out by the drone is just brutal. This round's over before it even starts.
EG not even taking a lick of damage. And back in the pole position.
And that round was the timeout, you know?
Yes, that was the round we had ults, we had a gun, we had just talked to the coach, and was not enough for 2G.
Feels almost like you waste it after a moment like that where everything goes wrong. You've got to change the plan. You can't run that same look again now that you've spent those key abilities.
Look at the money, too. They are going to be pretty broke this next round.
Well, they've got plenty more time to think about heading into the next one. They need to tap into some of the magic they found in the second half of Haven. Getting blocked out these last 2 rounds. Now, things they're going to be considering, A, money miserable for 2G, but also a Nightfall over for Nature. So winning something like that could be big for them. Again, in theory, EG's comp should be a little bit more reliant on their big exec ultimates to take sites.
But at the same time, they found value with getting players lurked up late over towards A, threatening the Clove on these B lurks, and
it's true.
Really consistently kind of forcing 2G to worry about a lot of different avenues of approach.
If you think about one of the things that, you know, this 2G comp does so well, we saw T1 using it a bunch, was using those undercuts very aggressively to dominate fights over a Rubble, but also having the flexibility to, you know, play that ISO over on the B site, then walking up front B. You can be very fluid and influence the map from very far away.
The issue for them is without an Omen, EG is never going to want to early fight into a Rubble when they know there's a risk of an ISO being there. They are only ever going to re-clear a Rubble.
EG can kind of, I don't know, wait for 2G to reveal their hand, then step in a little bit more on the delay, and set up these utility combos to clear out Rubble.
Yeah, talk of the re-clear, here it comes. Molly, nade, the orb up, and that space is in the hands of evil geniuses.
Now this is where it should in theory be a little more difficult, and I like Askia getting it active back on the angle. I want to see more of this of 2G on the second wave, getting in front of things, but the Nightfall is going to make it impossible.
Just a straight up exec here for EG. And already Silence is dead. Zap is going to try and desperately swing in too, but with the lesser weapons, they can't find anything, and it's a pivot.
They're not going A. Of course, Ye is lurking up into B. This guy loves it. Sure, a camera's going to spot him out, but the cavalry's here.
Both hero weapons still alive for 2G, but now it's just them.
The fans know it. They know what's coming.
2G, both players completely alone. Walking into the site. At least getting one. Satchel for a second, okay. Atsuki awake, but that still puts Gobert in a 1v3. And there's no chance for him to win this.
You don't think?
No.
6 HP, not enough?
Tail missiles, satchels, yeah, I don't think so.
Starting to slip. Still, I mean, again, that was the half buy for 2G. Not going to be too bad. They got the Nightfall. It's the small victories for them. Those aren't going to cut it in the future rounds, though. They need the big ones. Especially now that EG have just proven round after round, these mid-round pivots are really exposing 2G's defense. This B site is always a gap later on.
Round 19 is going to basically be the last chance for 2G.
Yeah. So if we get into a slow round again, 2G need to be way more proactive at clearing front B. I feel like they've had 3 players fighting this A space, then they get forced back, and then they stay on that side of the map. They're not playing so fluid at the moment, and it's allowing EG to just best them on a macro scale.
After showing a bunch of slow rounds, pretty much sitting in spawn, EG open a bit quicker, taking space in C mound. And if they choose to go here, there's only one player to anchor. 2G is going to basically be forced to play retake.
Paranoia out already from LZ, but it's dodged. Icy already into the site. The swings are coming on through, and Silence is unable to find his mark.
Couple kills back from Gobera over towards mid, but it might not be enough. It's a 3v3. The Hail Mary, the rocket from Askia.
Nature is already one off of the Nightfall?
That's insane. He used it last round. There's the rocket over the top. Askia finds Ye. That's what he needed, but they're going to need a little something extra. because off-site EG plays. A satchel onto Mount. Askia swings in, and now it's only Nature. Gobera holding this down, and Zap defends his teammate well. They needed that round, and they've got it.
It's pretty consistently been Zap and Gobera stepping up when 2G need them. Here it's Zap getting the last kill, but as well, Gobera getting the pick on mid, right? Every single round, we've seen it, we've said it, EG have had these lurks constantly punishing 2G. That kill you just saw there, so meaningful. Also, Askia seeing his shoulder gets 2G right back into that site.
That's what he needed.
Nature's got Nightfall again.
That he does.
Derek's got his ultimate. Good luck playing the site. It might be time to abandon C, 2G.
The last couple rounds EG has hit C. 2G have committed 1-2 players onto the site who have died, and then their team has ended up at a disadvantaged position on the retake.
You're gonna see Zap playing just off site probably, and then trying to flood back in after the Nightfall. Assuming EG stick around.
They broke the trip, the cam, and now they'll head back and look for an A reclear.
Yeah, so right now, yeah, we're going to use the Nightfall over towards C more than likely to try and pull this player. Because the smoke went down, EG think and assume that someone is up here and really need some help settling on this fake.
I think they spotted LZ at this point. Paranoia, and he backs away.
Go ahead.
Ultimate used to try and flush anyone out of blue room. No one's home. And that'll confirm EG that they just want to send it into A. Rotate's coming in for 2G, but they might be a bit late. Only LZ here, he's just getting bullied by utility, dead to the missiles. Icy on the entry, but Silence, the savior for 2G.
And Zap down into drop, looking for a moment, gets his. 2G are pushing forward on the retake. Even as the spike goes down, but it's just Zap with no gun out. What is going on? Gobera was miles away.
And now it's a retake into a pit. A 1 versus 2 for Gobera. But the Viper just on the other side and dead. 1v1. Gobera up against one of the greats. A tap on the spike, but he doesn't know where Ye is. Ye and all to work with, and that round is his. EG 1 away from putting 2G to bed.
EG just not wasting a moment on that exec once they committed. And it's unfortunate too, because yeah, LZ tries to teleport out, all he has is the Sheriff. And Zap, I think because the pit goes down with the spike being planted, he thinks he has a moment to try and catch a really fast timing. And he knows the pressure's on, because Gobera is so far away. He is in a 1-on-2. It's an unenviable position.
Icy.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's a brutal way to start this. Askia dead in an instant, a lot of ults being used. They absolutely need to win this fight, and they don't. The silver lining of Zap getting that kill, but it's still a 3v4.
LZ has held on to the space into Rebel, has called in reinforcements of Zap. But LZ still doesn't have a gun. You'd almost expect 2G to creep forward. As Drone only sees the typical lurker. That is fake information.
And 2G, do they fall for it? Walking up is LZ. Straight into EG's trap. 2G though, great paranoia. That gets him the space to escape.
Honestly, that is fine. And the truth is, with LZ having the ultimate, he could potentially ult over to C if 2G wanted to try and hold on to this site. Don't think they're gonna have the opportunity to do so. As missiles go on in, clear away Cypher trips, and camera spots out all 4 players on EG.
Gobera in the smoke. One of the 2 Vandals in his hands, but he's already dead. And now only 2 left alive. Make that one, yay. On this Clove. He's got 2 lives to close this one out.
Zap in a 1-on-4. But Ye's up there, not gonna happen. EG start off stage 1 strong, taking down 2G in their opener.
13-8 on map number 2. It was a close one to start. 2G had their chance, but in the last 2 rounds, it slipped away. And it's going to be another 2-0 loss on their record.
Still looking a lot stronger than I think we saw from 2G during kickoff. But on the other side of things, evil geniuses. They're able to equalize in that first map, even once things start getting a little bit ugly towards the end, and come back with a much stronger Lotus to close things out 2-0.
Yeah, a great day from Icy and Ye. Icy especially, I think, super impressive on that Waylay map 1.
Yeah, the Waylay was so fun to watch, especially like the slower side execs, because you'd expect a double dash into side, everything like that. Nah, Icy was a little bit more composed than that, taking his fights as they came. And Nature, too, with some huge rounds on both of those maps. They're having some fun up there.
Second win of the season for EG. Hoping to build more off of this. But looking at the strength of schedule, this was the one they needed to win. They have that goal checked off, and now it's on to even harder opponents.
Yeah, there's not a lot of time in stage 1, right in the regular season. Got about 5 weeks of gameplay. 5 opponents trying to take down. Getting this one was big. I do also want to shout out Askia, right? First time stepping onto the stage here with the 2G squad. That first map had a couple of big openers towards the start of things. Here too, clutching some important moments as well to take some rounds for 2G.
They did a good job today, I think, of dispelling the narrative of being the free win team. Kickoff, they only won 17 rounds. It was a stomp into another stomp. It was brutal for 2G. Today was different. This was a close match. 1 or 2 rounds different on either of these maps, and it could have been theirs.
I think they already won more rounds today than in kickoff. So
yes, quite literally. 19 today, 17 in kickoff. It's only up and up from here.
Yeah, it was also great, like seeing Zap up there, finding himself a little bit, fragging out, having fun, getting rowdy, getting loud. That was a good look to see from the leader.
It absolutely was. I mean, just great stuff across the board from them. But EG looking great today. They have their first win of stage 1. And for your Verizon post-match interview, it's Dan Dryad standing by with Icy.
Thank you, guys. That's right. I'm here with Icy after that 2-0 win against 2G. Can we hear it for Icy, everybody? It has to feel good to start stage 1 with a win, and also with your Waylay debut. Can you tell me what it was like to play this agent? You were going insane on that map 1.
I mean, Waylay is just really fun. I'm not gonna lie. It's a fun character. I hope to play on more maps and just, you know, keep owning. Because I was dashing in there, shorting people. It was a lot of fun. So it was, yeah.
It looked really cool. And something that we noticed as well on the second map is you guys are experimenting a little bit with the compositions. We saw Ye on the Clove as well, as we just talked about as well, you on the Waylay. So how do these compositions come to be? Is it just Potter? Is it everybody kind of having an input? And how do you feel about the meta right now?
A lot of it is Coach Potter, but I would say like a lot of it's just like comfort roles, like what we feel nice on. You know, we try a lot of comps in the like break time between kickoff and stage 1. So we were just trying things, and I think we found the comps we were looking to play in the meta, so feels good.
And a lot of them were really clutch, and everything that you were able to do in these maps was pretty impactful. So going into the expectations, because on kickoff, we didn't really get to see much of you. So what are the expectations that people should be having for Evil Geniuses on stage 1?
I think people should expect more wins. You know, I think that we had a rough kickoff, and we all know that, and there's things we're touching up on. So I think we're improving on the things we need to improve on, and we're feeling better going into stage 1.
And that's something that I like to hear for EG. My last question is, it's a double question. So number 1, that next match is 100 Thieves against Sentinels, that classic. But those are also the next 2 teams that you're going to be facing. So tell me, who's winning that next match, and how do you feel about facing those 2?
My prediction is I'm going to take Sen 2-0.
Okay, 2-0.
And then, let's see. I mean, I'm looking forward to both those games. I think it's going to be a good game today, and I look forward to playing both those teams, because I know they're both pretty solid. So, yeah.
That's going to be a good matchup, and that's the one that is coming up next. Icy, thank you so much for the interview. We're going to throw it to a break, and then we have El Clásico.
human body was built to move. Not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secret Lab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you, gamers, hybrid workers, artists, backing your every move.